An independent investigation published on Thursday found that Bashir lied and deceived Diana that she was being spied upon to persuade her to agree to the interview in which she disclosed details of her failed marriage to Prince Charles. In response, a visibly emotional Prince William hit out at the BBC in a scathing statement while his brother, Prince Harry, took aim at a toxic media culture. Diana's eldest son William has said the way the interview was secured was deceitful, and the BBC's failures contributed significantly to Diana's fear, paranoia and isolation. The Duke of Cambridge said he was most saddened Diana never learned she had been deceived. His younger brother Prince Harry and Diana's brother Charles Spencer have said the interview was part of a series of unethical practices that ultimately cost Diana her life in a car crash in Paris in 1997. The source said that Prince Charles had fully supported William's decision to issue a statement attacking the BBC in the wake of the report. William also informed the Queen before making his bombshell public remarks last week. Daily Mirror royal correspondent Russell Myers pointed out that the fact Harry and William released separate statements shows the gulf that is between them sadly, amid a rift between the two brothers. Prince William and Harry did not release a united response to the findings of the Lord Dyson inquiry. The royal correspondent praised William for speaking out, with such raw emotion and certainly very, very powerful words that make disturbing listening for the BBC. He continued, "He has absolutely savaged them as he said they played her fear, paranoia and isolation. Clearly a struggle for you to understand that William is both realistic and yet loving towards his mother's memory." Prince William's statement is sensible and focus on his mother being a victim tricked into the interview. While Harry has been speaking about his resilient, brave and unquestionably honest mother, indirectly justifying his own whines and rants. Prince William was also appreciated for mentioning his support of a free press, even while rightfully condemning the BBC's actions against his family. While his brother was using Lord Dyson's report as a stick with which to once again beat the tabloid press, William was mature enough to acknowledge that if it wasn't for the newspapers, Bashir would have got away with his rogue reporting for even longer. "Public service broadcasting and a free press have never been more important," he magnanimously declared. It needed to be said after Harry called America's right to free speech bonkers. William has had to endure exactly the same fate as Harry. In fact, as the elder brother and heir, rather than spare, it has arguably been even more difficult for him. As the child of divorced parents myself, I know all too well that while every child is adversely affected, the oldest is often at the coalface, shouldering most of the burden. Despite this, and having to come to terms with being tethered to a life mapped out at birth, William has resolved to serve others, rather than himself. Instead of growing up to resent the rules of the game, he has used them to his advantage, realizing, as all the best royals do, that it is never really about them, but about us. Unlike Harry, who has misinterpreted the Queen's "never complain, never explain" mantra as a gagging clause, William has used it as it was intended, as a protection order to ensure the lines between the professional and the personal do not become too blurred. This comes amid ongoing former BBC Director General Lord Hall, who was heavily criticised in the Dyson report for his botched inquiry into how the interview was obtained, resigned on Saturday as chairman of the National Gallery, saying continuing in the role would be a distraction to an institution I care deeply about. He had also faced questions over the BBC's decision to rehire Bashir in 2016, even though it was known he had lied about the bank statements. Journalist Martin Bashir has broken his silence following the publication of the Dyson report, telling the Sunday Times he doesn't believe he harmed Princess Diana in any way. In an interview with the paper, Bashir apologizes to Princes Harry and William over the 1995 BBC Panorama interview that was later found to be secured under false pretenses. However, he stops short of admitting that he duped Diana into the interview. He argued that the 1995 interview had been conducted on Diana's terms, and that they remained firm friends after it aired to an audience of 22.8 million people. He said that everything we did in terms of the interview was as she wanted, from when she wanted to alert the palace, to when it was broadcast, to its contents. "My family and I loved her." Bashir has said that he regretted showing Diana's brother forged documents, but that it had no bearing on the revelations aired during the interview. In it, Diana famously said, "There were 3 people in her marriage: her, Charles, and his longtime mistress and now wife, Camilla Parker Bowles," and also admitted adultery. Bashir was little known at the time but went on to have a high-profile career on U.S. television networks, and interviewed stars such as Michael Jackson. The pop singer's family also blamed Bashir for his death, saying the fallout from the interview led to him to increasingly depend on drugs. Bashir worked for the BBC as religion editor until he stepped down just last week, citing ill health, hours before Dyson's report was submitted to BBC bosses. Britain's government said on Friday it would examine how the BBC was run after the inquiry criticised the broadcaster for its woefully ineffective investigation into Bashir's actions. London's police force has said officers will assess the contents of the report to see if there was any significant new evidence, having previously ruled out a criminal investigation.
Thank you for watching. If you liked, feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates. We will update the latest videos about the royal family every day. Thanks and goodbye.